Jeff Bennington, the incredible Mr. Kometz. The incredible Mr. Kometz, Jeff Bennington.
Have you ever had a deep emotional connection between an experience and a song that you love? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Wow, excellent. This is true for me too, especially back in 1984. With songs like Purple Rain by Prince, Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper, and Wake Me Up Before You Go. Very good. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and my beautiful audience. 1984 is a year I will never forget because of those connections. And because it was a year that one of my mentors made a lifelong impact on me. It was also the year that I played the role of Dan in our school musical, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And our director was the incredible Mr. Kometz. Mr. Kometz was everyone's favorite teacher because he listened to us and he spoke to us with dignity. It didn't matter what kind of monstrosity you made in his art class, he could find the beauty in it. He was encouraging and he was inspiring. And I needed that back then because I was only 14 years old. I wasn't a good student. I wasn't good in sports. And I wasn't even growing anymore. I was, however, aimlessly trying to figure out where I fit in. And by some stroke of luck, this short, pimpled-faced kid got a role in the musical. And one day while we were practicing, some of us took a break and snuck up to the second-story balcony in the gymnasium. And if you're thinking we were up to no good or smoking something we shouldn't have, you would be wrong on that occasion. Because on that day in 1984, we were breakdancing. Now, it's important to know that during that time, our marching band, of which I was a cymbal player, was raising money because we had been invited to play at Disney World. Very exciting, right? Right? Come on, woo! It was exciting if you could afford it. I was stressed out. I needed to raise $500, and that was a lot of money for a kid back in 1984. I worked odd jobs, weekends, and I think I sold approximately 400 million oranges in the fundraiser. It felt like 400 million. Now, back to the balcony. There we were, breakdancing, battling it out like all breakers do, and in walks Mr. Kometz. He was furious. He shouted for everyone to get out of there, and we scattered. If Mr. Kometz was angry, oh, we must have done something really bad. But then I noticed he was pointing. Everyone but you. Yes, you, Bennington. The rest of you, get back to practice. The others ran off. I walked sheepishly toward him. Yes, Mr. Kometz? Don't worry, Jeff. You're not in trouble. I'm not? No, Jeff, listen. I know how hard you've been working to go to Florida, and I want you to know I'm really proud of you. You are? Of course. And I brought you something. And then Mr. Kometz reached into his coat, and like a magician pulling a rabbit from his pocket, he handed me a roll of $20 bills. Mr. Kometz, $200? I was dumbfounded. No one had ever given me a gift like that. $200 back in 1984. After insisting that I keep the money, I told him thank you, gave him a grateful hug, and then he said, all right, Bennington, recess is over now. Get back to practice. So I took off But then he stopped me and he said, "Hey, Jeff, by the way, you're a good breakdancer." I went back to practice, happy as a lark, and walking on air. And that is why I'll never forget 1984. The music, the trip to Disney World, breakdancing with my friends, and that moment with the incredible Mr. Kometz. It changed me. It changed me because Mr. Kometz taught me that a good mentor can impact a life forever. And he taught me that a good mentor will find the one thing that you did right when you thought you completely failed. And he taught me that a good mentor can encourage someone to soar to new heights. Ladies and gentlemen, not only do we need mentors like Mr. Kometz today, we need people who truly care the way that he did today more than ever. Yes? Yes. Absolutely. You see, Mr. Kometz understood that there's beauty inside of all of us. And sometimes we just need someone to point it out. And he knew that there's people all around aimlessly trying to figure out where they fit in, like I was. My challenge for you, for all of us today, is to not only remember Mr. Kometz, but to emulate his character as a mentor to someone who needs it, as someone who genuinely cares for other people, and someone who gives sacrificially. Because if you can do that, you could change a life. And in the process, change yourself. And if you're really fortunate and you love music and people, you just might create deep emotional connections that last a lifetime. Contest chair.